morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome
Hello,
to
hello.
Web3 and Me, presented by FLOLiO. I am your host, Jeremy Weber, and as always, I am joined by the man with the most rugged good looks in all of the
Yeah.
Netherlands, Daniel van der Lock. Daniel, how are we
Hello.
doing today?
I'm doing great. I've left the crypto battlefield with minus 20% of my portfolio. Looking a little bit rough, but other than that, I'm still surviving, so that's decent.
Well, it's not as rough as well, it might get rougher, so just buckle up for that,
Oh
buddy.
yeah.
So, as always, nothing that we say on this show is financial advice. We encourage everyone to use what we say for maybe a little bit of guidelines, perhaps, but do your own research before buying anything, before selling anything. Please go ahead and subscribe to the FLOLiO YouTube page if you have not yet. Hit that little thumbs up button at the bottom. Comment if you would like, and hop in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. And if you find any of this valuable, please share with your friends, family, coworkers, acquaintances, or people you don't like if you want to send some shitty people
Everyone.
our way too. So, Daniel, let's jump into it today. Over the last week, we recorded a pre-recorded show. That was our recap from last year. So about 8 days since we recorded that and posted a week ago. So what have you been up to in that time?
I haven't really been up to too much. I have done some truly degenerate minting though. I'll be honest on that one.
I
Um,
love it. Tell me all about it.
it's really bad.
Let's go.
So I'm like whitelisted for Pixelmon. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's like making its rounds like pixely monsters in Sandbox, I believe.
Anytime
And
I
they,
see a whitelist coming out, I just assume that you're already on it.
yeah,
So
it's close. I'm in most of them. So what's really cool is they have this person, like the whole like alpha calling group stuff. Like sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. But so apparently this guy is really good. He came over from the Kaiju. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Like Kaiju Kings, if you
the
heard of it.
Kaiju Kings. Okay.
Yeah. And so he's apparently like a like apparently he has a track record of like analyst and like good alpha apparently. So he came over to the Pixelmon, and sometimes he posts like, "Oh, you guys can mint this. It's pretty decent, but it's super risky. Like it's like 11 out of 10 out of like riskiness, right?" So the whole Discord is like, you know what? Okay, we can just mint that. So I minted a Nene Neko is what it's called. I'll screen share it because it is truly degenerate, and it is worth absolutely zero right now. So I literally flushed like $200 down the drain, and I love it.
Hey,
Uh,
listen, you're gonna strike out sometimes, man. You can't hit a home run every time,
oh yeah, so okay, see this? Yeah, there you go.
and that's definitely a strikeout right there.
It's a little kitty, right? I like kitties. What can I say?
Why is it kitty
Uh,
and the cat? There's like a cactus and
yeah, there are some other ones that I don't think I can show you. It's not very kid friendly. But the
okay.
ones I have are thankfully. So um, where are they? So I have this one. So these are the three ones I minted. It was a free mint. Okay, it was a free mint. So I only
Okay.
paid gas.
That's not
I
bad.
like how it looks. I like how it looks. Okay, and it's worth absolutely zero right now. So it's worth like 0.003 right now. So that's fantastic. I think it hit zero not too long ago. So that's basically what I've been up to, like doing absolutely nothing. But that's how it works. How about you?
I haven't done a whole lot, so this is gonna be an interesting episode. I've actually, for the last good chunk of the week, I talked about on the previous show, brought my kiddo home, so I was actually
Yeah,
back in the NICU with him this last week. He had some issues pop up. Thankfully, he's doing okay. So you're gonna be kind of walking me through a lot of what happened in this last week. From an activity
definitely.
standpoint, I really haven't bought anything. Um, I did sell a few of the Bored Ape Kennel Dogs on their run up a bit,
Oh yeah.
and we'll talk a little bit more about that. Yeah, we in the joint account that I have with my sister, we have our Bored Ape collection, and we had quite a few dogs, and we listed some for sale, and just to take a little bit of money off the table. So a few of those sold. I had an Aku Dreams chapter six, chapter six that sold, and then haven't really done a whole lot of buying. Just I don't tend to buy a whole lot during these big hype cycles. This is
Yeah.
where I look to sell, stack some ETH, wrap it, and then start to make some offers. So, like I said, we'll touch on that in a little bit. So that's really been the extent of my activity over the last week. So let's get into our recap for the week, which has to start with the crypto market being absolutely lit on fire to start the year.
Yeah.
As of this morning, Bitcoin was down over 11%. Ethereum and are down 16% in 3 days, which we've seen bigger dips than that. And it's funny when you go on Twitter and you see the influencers like just shouting from the rooftop, just zoom out. But then it's like, yeah, but what if zooming out doesn't look that great either? Like,
Yeah.
now on the year, Bitcoin is up still like a decent amount, but it's
They
touching
are.
a similar rate to like what the S&P and other more traditional finance markets are. And I find you can get into this echo chamber on Twitter where everyone talks about how great crypto is because it's so decentralized, but at the same time, as soon as traditional finance starts to go down,
Yeah.
crypto starts to go down. So are we really that decentralized if we move in tandem with traditional finance? We got a long ways to go. I'm still just holding my crypto because I am not smart enough to try to time the bottom. And as soon as you think that you are, you're going to miss that rebound up. So is ETH going to go under 3K? Maybe. Is it going to go under 2,500? Possibly. But I'm just going to sit here and I'm gonna hold on to it. So
Yeah.
how have you been doing with all this?
So I'm really good at actually timing the bottom, but only when I sell. So whenever I sell, that's exactly the bottom, and then it goes up
So
incrementally.
so this is where being once again not financial advice, but being self-aware as an investor is really important because, like
Yeah.
I said, I know that I can't time the bottom of these things. So if I'm struggling with it, I'm just gonna like delete whatever app I'm looking at on my phone and that's stressing me out, and I'll just come back in a week and see what's going on. So one thing that we often hear is the effect of crypto has on the NFT market as far as like the ups and downs go. In the past, we've seen when crypto has dipped quite a bit with Ethereum being the main currency used on the NFT market, NFTs go up. But it was interesting in that the week leading up to this big dip, NFTs were already going crazy.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing a little bit of a pullback in conjunction with that, that state of euphoria where things were going nuts, ETH coming back down. It definitely seems like some people, as usual, bit off more than they can chew. So I guess I will give one piece of financial advice, which
Uh-huh.
is don't invest more than you can
Yeah.
afford to lose and hold for an extended period of time. If you're buying an NFT for $5,000 and rent is coming due in a few days, and that is your last $5,000, stop what you are doing. Like, that is such a bad idea. Don't do it. Like, you're gonna fuck yourself up.
Yeah.
So that is my one piece of financial advice: is don't over leverage yourself. For the love of God, you're not gonna make clear-headed decisions when you are over leveraged like that. And Patty Nicolau, thank you very much. It's pretty awesome being a dad so far. And Jimmy, we appreciate you saying that we're looking fire, and we agree with that. So let's move on from that. We had touched on the run that NFTs went on. It started right around Christmas time,
Yeah.
and now
Exactly.
it really took off. So some of the big winners, let's jump into those, Daniel. What have you seen over the last week that has really gone up?
Yeah, so like you said, I think it definitely started around Christmas where with that token drop, the SOS token drop. I think that really like gave a lot of people some extra ETH, and I guess they all spent it like true degens on like a bunch of projects. So like kind of starting from Christmas up until now, we've seen Alien Friends move from 0.30 ETH to 1.30 ETH or maybe 1.40 at this point. I took note of this yesterday, so there can be quite a little bit of a price fluctuation in there. And Cool Cats jumped from I think 6 or 7 and up to 11. I know they dipped down quite a little bit since then, but it's so crazy that Cool Cats hit 11. Like,
Yeah, they're still chilling right at about 9.8.
okay, yeah, fair. And obviously, I do have to mention the Bored Apes and the Mutant Apes, of course. They went absolutely ham. I think they went to 72. The Bored Ape.
Bored Apes touched 72. They've pulled back into the high 60s. Mutants got, I think they got to 16. Those have pulled back to around 14 and a half. And then the dogs got up to 7, and those have pulled back to about 5.5, which at one point our boss messaged and was like, JWeb, should I buy a dog? Tell me to buy
Yeah,
one, I'll
yeah.
do it. And I was just like, don't buy quite yet. We're gonna pull back. And I told them that when they were 5, and then they ripped to 7, and I was just like, shit, I'm gonna get fired. Like,
Yeah.
but thankfully they're coming back down a little bit, and I think if we see them get down to 5 or 4.5 again, it could present a buying opportunity there.
Yeah, definitely. And then we've seen the NFT worlds jump from 1 to 4 ETH, and which is quite surprising because they've been around for quite some time. And I think they were like point 0.1 like a week before that, so they definitely had like a crazy run up. And they have this token, I believe it's like the ticker like $world, I believe, like WRLD, I think. And they've been also going ham. Like they've been seeing some crazy returns. I'm not sure how they get them. I guess like maybe through staking their land. But yeah, it's crazy to see the gains they've made. And it's one project my girlfriend actually put me on, and I haven't bought, and she hasn't bought either. But we were both planning to, and that's a Capsule World. It was also a Capsule House, and they jumped from 0.17 to 1.5 in 2 weeks as well. And to mention, it actually is also worth around 3 ETH, and that's because they have this specific type of NFT within their collection, and they're getting a 3D like profile picture set drawn like later this year. So I guess that's why they're worth like double the floor.
Okay.
And then we've also seen Cool Man's Universe go up from 0.2 to 1. They were also like pretty like hyped up project from what I could see, and then they didn't really take off. They went like up to 0.5 and then dropped down to 0.2.
Okay.
And,
yeah, I'm looking at their pricing chart right now. They got up to they got up to like 0.7 right at the beginning of the year. They came back to like 0.58, and then they ripped up to 1.3 at one point.
Yeah,
and now they're back at around 0.8. So we're seeing some. This is just the way that things go, right? And I think Coolman's is another one of those where people have seen also what Doodles did.
Yeah.
Doodles have got up to over 10 at one point. They're just under 9 now. And I don't really know what the deal is with Doodles. I don't think that they have like much of a roadmap, which doesn't totally matter. They're just kind of cute. And people are looking at Coolman's and at the Little Lemon friends at like, okay, speculating on these are the cute NFTs. Could this one rip to 10? And I'm just going to tell you straight up, you will not see an NFT that you buy for 0.2 go straight to 10 without any sort of
time.
Like, there'll be multiple pullbacks along the way.
Yeah.
So if you are stressing that you didn't get a Coolman's when it was 0.2, just give it a little bit. So it also looks like the My Pet Hooligans that you had talked about on a previous show have done very well over the last week also.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they doubled from 0.7 to 1.4. And as I said earlier, I'm incredibly talented at finding the bottom point and then selling at the bottom. I had two. I think I sold one at 0.8 and one at 0.7, which I reinvested into Wolf Game, which has done well. I've definitely made more money, or like Ethereum, I guess. But it is sour to see My Pet Hooligan double in value, Alien Friends go up like almost tenfold, and I'm sitting here like, huh. I guess I could have made more money, but
yeah, timing the top, timing the bottom, it can be frustrating, but there'll be more opportunities. You took profits along the way. No one's ever going to go broke that way, right?
Exactly that mindset. So I have to kind of sit there and be like, you know what, I should be happy that I made profit, and at least I didn't lose money on this project. It's a hard change of mentality to go through, but at the end of the day, no, like you said, no one ever went broke taking profit. So.
Yep. And then another one that we've seen that isn't on Ethereum, this is actually on the Arbitrum Layer 2, which is an Ethereum Layer 2 solution, is the Small Brains. SMOL. Not small, but small.
It's small.
They are small. And that's actually the nickname we gave our son because he's on the small side. So I need to try to figure out a way to buy that for his first NFT. So this is interesting because this can be kind of complicated. You have to go on to bridge.arbitrum.io. You have to bridge your ETH over to Arbitrum, and then you have to swap that for Magic because that is what the small brains are being sold on. So I'm going to pull up the marketplace real quick of said small brains, because the website you have to go to is marketplace.treasure.lol, which the fact that it ends in .lol doesn't give me the most confidence that it isn't a rug pull of some kind.
That's so funny.
I think that's it's like,
Dot
wait, hold on.
lol.
.lol, like, are they going to totally screw us here? But these are the small brains. And as you can see, there are small ones and then less small ones. And they can be, I need to learn more about this, but they will grow, and you can find a way to increase the size. And as you can see, the current floor is 3,350 magic, which last I checked, that was, about 3 ETH. And
Really?
this is another one that was a free mint initially. And
Jeez.
they have gained steam over the last few weeks and have absolutely ripped. I think they have been hanging out in this range of 3.3 to 3.8 thousand magic, but they're cute. This is another cute pixelated one. I think the mechanics of it are pretty interesting. So those are the small brains. So with that being said, that is our recap for the week. And I also want to touch one more time a little bit on how best to work the market right now. And once again, not financial advice, but we've seen the euphoria in the past. We saw it back over the summer. We've seen these cycles where some catalyst drives the market absolutely crazy and things start to fly. And we have to be aware of that. And if you're trying to make this a profitable endeavor, you're not just looking to collect, you can't be afraid to sell on the way up. We've talked, Daniel, that neither one of us is good at timing tops, timing bottoms. So if you buy an NFT and you're looking to turn it for a profit, list it at a profit that you'd be happy with, and just let it sit there. And if it sits at that price for 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, that's what happened with a few of our kennel dogs. As we saw, I listed those a month or two back. They just kind of hung out there, and then they sold for a profit. And would it have been as much of a profit as if we had sold the top of 7? No, but we still got a little bit of money out of it. So
Exactly.
taking that profit, and then, if you want to pull some out for regular expenses, treat yourself, whatever, that's great. If you want to reinvest it, this is getting to be a good time where, as things start to pull back, you can wrap some of that Ethereum and then go on to OpenSea and make offers for maybe some NFTs at lower prices that you think are going to be valuable long term. One strategy that I like to use for this is, if you go to OpenSea, I'll pull it up here in a moment, you can look and see when things have been listed. Okay. So I'm going to pull up Doodles, and we'll start with that because Doodles is one I am fairly interested in. So we can see over here, instead of price low to high, let's go to recently listed and see what's going on. And if we see someone who has listed one maybe for a loss, so if you got a nice 500 ETH lying around, Daniel, you can go ahead and buy this little
Yeah,
guy
sure.
right here.
Maybe I might buy it after the episode if I feel frisky.
If you feel frisky, okay. So let's look at this one, for example. This one was purchased for 8.99 ETH and has now been listed for 9. So after marketplace fees, this guy is going to take a loss. The purchase was made 2 days ago. So in 2 days' time, this person has already panicked because they're probably over leveraged. And this is an opportunity for you as an investor or a collector to take advantage of it. Another thing I like to do is, on this item activity tab, look at the different listings and when stuff has been listed. You'll see that this guy, whoever they are, bought it 2 days ago, immediately listed it for 9.6, and has slowly taken that number down because they're obviously panicking about the fact that they bought this NFT for 9 ETH and it didn't double again overnight. So that's just one strategy to use when you're trying to snipe some of these opportunities on OpenSea. Daniel, what sort of strategies do you like to employ, if you're doing
It,
any sort of secondary marketplace buying?
it's funny. I do exactly the same. It's I don't
Great,
know.
great minds think alike.
True. Yeah. Like I've never really did my research on it, or like heard anyone else say that. But whenever I go to the secondary market and I'm thinking of like bidding on some, I always look at the transaction history, like are they selling for a loss, and then seeing how often they've listed it. Like, so basically, like exactly the same.
Yeah. So I mean, that doodle we just looked at that was listed for 9. I think if you give it another day and it hasn't gone back up, you could throw a bid out there for 7.5 ETH,
Yeah, I think so as well.
maybe even 7. Start with 7, and you could. I think there's a decent chance you get it for 7, relist it, for 11 or so, and then just give it however long it's going to take, and you're going to see a return on that because the way doodles have been going, I think that long term that's a pretty solid project to be in.
Definitely.
Anything else you want to touch on before we bring our guest in for today, Daniel?
Nope. I think that's. I think we covered the market fairly well for this week.
Okay.
So let's bring him in.
All right, let's bring him in. So today we have our first special guest on the show. His name is Stephen Garbett. Stephen is a part of the Team USA skeleton for the Olympics. So Olympic hopeful Stephen Garbett. Anyone who slides headfirst down an icy mountain like that is pretty cool in my book. He has his NFT project, the Sports Initiative, starting. We're going to learn more about that today. So let's bring him on right now, ladies and gentlemen, Stephen Garbett.
Woo! This
There
is
we
where
go.
we would add applause if he could.
Stephen, how are we doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it and really enjoy being a guest on the show.
Awesome. Excited to have you on. Where are you coming to us from right now?
Right now, I'm in Altenburg, Germany, competing. We just had 2 competitions. These are the last 2 competitions we have before Olympic selections, which will be coming up on the 16th. So we'll see how that goes.
That's awesome. So real quick, before we get into your project, how did you get involved in skeleton? That doesn't seem like the most traditional sport, but I think it's so damn cool. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's a great question. Most people don't just go throw themselves head first down a mountain at 90 miles an hour. I didn't know about the sport until 2010. I went back to visit my grandma in Colorado, and because she was sick in the hospital. And during that trip, I became ill. Body started shutting down. Doctors couldn't figure out what was going on with me, and I got stuck in the same hospital as my grandma. I was in there for about 3.5 weeks, and during that time, I saw skeleton on the Olympics. And I told myself I'd do 2 things if I got healthy. First, no one in my family ever graduated college, so I wanted to be the first to do that. Second, I was like, I want to try skeleton. So I ended up getting healthy. The doctors never figured out what was going on with me. They ended up removing my appendix during the trip because that was about to rupture, but they said that was something else going on that caused that. But after that, it changed my views on life and on the world. And it made me realize that we can do anything, but we need to make sure we set our minds and go for it and work hard for it because we limit ourselves. So I've had this mentality ever since that hospital visit where I set high goals and I don't care what the world is saying about it or what anybody says. I go and I achieve those goals. And ever since I've been able to achieve some amazing things, and I've been blessed and fortunate enough to be able to represent Team USA on the national team for the past 8 years at the highest level of competition. And I'm excited to continue to do great things.
So you went from a hospital bed, and within 3 years, you were competing in a sport that you had previously not known of at the highest level. That is so awesome, man. Like,
yeah, definitely.
I'm ready to run through a brick wall right now hearing you talk about this. Like, that's so fucking cool.
I appreciate that. Yeah, no, it was cool. It's been a fun journey, but it really did teach me that surround yourself by great people that want to grow.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
If you surround yourself by those great people that want to grow, and you work hard for those goals, you can achieve them. Like we can achieve great things together, and community is very important. And that's why I love NFTs so much. Is the community aspect of what people are building is absolutely amazing, and it just shows you some of these great projects that are coming out in the Board API Club, for example. That the community that they developed there is just so solid. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So that's a perfect transition into how you got into NFT. Sorry, Daniel.
Yes, it's okay. I want to mention that like the NFT community part of the whole thing is so crazy. People are super supportive and like they really rally behind projects they really believe in, and it's super like inspirational to be active in it, I think.
They also rally behind the people in their community, whether it's about I tweeted some stuff out about my kid being in the hospital, and like the outpouring of support I got on Twitter was like, it was really incredible. This is not something I've ever really experienced, before as far as like a community goes, because we're all in it for the same thing. So how did you get involved in NFTs, Daniel? or Stephen. Jeez.
Yeah. So I've been into crypto for a few years now. I got out of it for a bit, and then I got back in really hard last December. And I started dabbling a little bit a few years back into NFT, but it was way before anything with some cool cats and stuff like that. And then sold all those. And then with this one, I really saw the potential of what NFTs could be. And once you truly realize what NFTs can do and what they are, your mind completely changes, and you really see the future of what can be and what is coming. And after that, I've just been 100% all in, trying to find these great projects, going straight DJ, like you said, into some rabbit holes, trying to find what the best projects are and really find good communities. And during that time, I've learned a lot from all the different communities, and it's actually helped me inspire me into building a community for athletes.
Awesome. So before we get into that, what are some of your favorite projects that you've gotten involved in? What's like your best one? And then, we want to talk about the misses as well. So what has been your biggest swing and miss on here?
Biggest swing and miss. Oh, I've actually been very fortunate. I've had some pretty good luck. With
then give me your best luck then.
Well, I got a mecha. I know there's some stuff that went around with the mechas, but I was able to get whitelisted, grab one, and I turned that really quick for a quick 5 ETH profit, which was a nice in a day.
Yeah.
So I'll take that any day. I really like the Boonji project. I like that just because the art. I like how they were correlating the real world art pieces with the project itself. So I'm a big fan of that project as well. And then I do like the Pluto Alliance is one of the other ones that I'm a fan of.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. So have you tried explaining this to people like in your day-to-day life, NFTs and crypto and all these things? Like, what has the reaction been? Because Daniel and I have each had our own. It's so ridiculous.
It's not possible at all.
What's the reaction been from your friends, family, Olympic teammates? What have they said when you've tried to describe NFTs?
Yeah, you know that meme that goes around where the guy's like crazy pointing at the board with all of the strings? I'm that guy.
Okay. I think we're all that guy at some point.
Yeah. And I know it, and I'm so passionate about this stuff, and I'm trying to explain it, and I realize that it's just a communication barrier that you have to be able to break between people to get them to truly understand it. So some of them don't understand it at all. They're like, "You're just crazy," whatever. Other ones sit and listen, and the ones that sit and listen, they actually truly, they're like, okay, they want to get to learn. So what I've been doing, especially in the athlete community, because there's a lot of athletes that have been getting involved and that want to continue to get involved, but they don't know where to get started. So I've been trying to make sure I know of some good projects that or YouTube channels that I can send people to that can at least educate them with good content to get started, because that's the most important thing. Is there's so many people and so many influencers out there that are just shilling their projects that they have in their bags and stuff like that. It's trying to find some people that want to help educate the community and provide good knowledge, so that way they can then explore from there. Because sometimes you want to listen to those influencers that are shilling things because it can help you get ahead of the market, but understanding that is important first. So I've been actually helpful in educating a lot of the athletes on the Olympic side, which has been a lot of fun.
Awesome. And you can always send them to the FLOLiO YouTube channel, which everyone should be subscribed to and liking this video right now. So moving on from that, what was your main motivation for starting this project? And tell us a little bit more about the sports initiative.
Yeah, so my main motivation for this is I've been an athlete for a long time at the highest level, and funding and support is not always there. And most people don't realize, but Olympic athletes are all self-funded or sponsor-funded. Most people think everything's covered and you're good, but no, even competing at the top level, you are funding a lot of your stuff, and you're relying on sponsors and funding. And unless you're the top athletes of certain sports, you don't really have those big name sponsors. So it's very, very difficult. And I've wanted to come up with a project for years to be able to help fund athletes. And about 7 years ago, I actually came up with an idea. I brought it to a bunch of investors of mine, and I didn't have the time to continue to pursue it because of other things I was doing. And the next year, Omaze came out, the fundraising platform, and it was the exact diagram that I brought into the investment group. And I'm glad that it came out, because that they've been able to help so many people. But I realized I missed my opportunity. And I've been looking and studying the market ever since, and I realized the opportunity right now with NFTs and cryptos and how early we are. And I realized that this is the future and there's an opportunity for it. So I wanted to establish a community that's going to be the best sports community on the blockchain, but it also, at its core, is designed to help fund and support athletes. And it's not just Olympic athletes that I want to help fund and support. I've seen little league teams where kids can't compete because their moms can't afford the jerseys or afford the fees. I've seen high school teams where they cut the programs because they didn't have the equipment for the programs. And I wanted to be able to come up with a community that loves sports, loves to talk about sports, has a bunch of professional athletes that are advising it and in the group to help support it and grow it, but then we can also utilize our group and our community, and we can vote on who we want to support together as a community. So really the whole goal of the sports initiative is to really help support and fund athletes from all different levels. We have 5 Olympic medalists on our advisory board right now. We have NFL players on our advisory board. I just talked to a couple Super Bowl champions. They're interested. We're working out some stuff to get them on. I'm working on getting not just Olympic athletes, but Olympic medalists, Super Bowl champions, Stanley Cup champions. I'm working on getting top level athletes from every sport to be able to be on our board and be able to support the project. So that way we have a really solid foundation. And the main reason that I want to bring these top athletes in is they've been through every level of sport, and they understand where we can use the funds to most impact the sport and also grow with the athletes in the sport. So I want to use them and their knowledge to be able to say, hey, we have this fund. We want to be able to support X athlete or X team. What is the best way to do it? And they can then advise us and give us the advice.
Yeah, one thing I really like about your roadmap is that, excuse me if I get something like slightly wrong, but it's 70% of proceeds go to like this crypto investment, right? And that gets distributed towards like the athletes, right?
Yep, that's exactly correct. So a lot of projects that athletes are coming out with and people are coming out with are all to help them. I wanted to make sure that we set it up so that way the majority of the funds go back to the athletes. So I set it up where we have 70% of the funds are going to go into a crypto interest earning account. And instead of just paying the funds that 70%, it's a one-time use. We wanted to be able to help athletes year after year. So by putting it into an interest earning account, we can use the interest from that to be able to support athletes year after year after year, which is the key. But I also knew that we have to be able to support our community and be able to do really cool things to keep a strong community. So 15% of the funds are going to go to that. And we're creating some really cool one-of-a-kind experiences that you're not going to be able to just go purchase. We have athlete meet and greets where you're going to be able to do some really cool things that we're working on. We haven't come out with it and talked about it yet, but coming out to the Olympic Training Center and doing some cool things, meeting athletes and going down and doing a bobsled ride, which is a lot of fun.
Let's go. Let's go. Don't we got a lot skeleton of cool because I got a kid now, but I'll do the bobsled for sure.
Oh, we got to get you doing skeleton. You got to go head first. It's the way to go.
That's too risky for us, I think.
Not for me. Okay, that's really, dude, I am getting hyped just hearing you talk about this.
Yeah.
So, you have the fund that you're going to set aside. Is there going to be, these NFTs on the secondary marketplace as well to help continue to raise money for this?
Yeah, so the plan is we'll have a 5% commissions built into the contract of the NFT. So on the secondary market, we'll continue to receive funds to help with it. But it's also, we don't plan on just doing one drop. We're doing this first drop, and this is our Genesis drop. It is a larger Genesis drop, but that's in order to create the fund necessary to be able to support the athletes and teams. But we plan on doing drops afterwards, and we want to do 4 drops a year. And the reason we want to do 4 a year is we want to do summer sports, spring sports, winter sports, and fall sports. And we have it lined up with professional athletes and stuff like that. Those ones are all going to be smaller drops, but we're going to continue to do that. And by holding our original Genesis drop, this original drop, you're going to have benefits in the future drops that will give you special access to things that we're building and putting in place.
Can you give us some details on the Genesis drop? When is it happening? How many pieces? What's the cost? All of that good stuff.
Yep. So we're doing a 10,000 drop. So it's superhero sports characters. and they are going to be both men and women. So think about having a superhero sports character that's female and a male, and it goes, you have football pads on, or you have tennis or track and field. That's what they look. We haven't brought the art out yet. Our artists are currently working on it, so they've been working really hard on getting some really cool stuff. But the characters will change based off of all the different sports, and they're going to be superhero looking. Our drop is going to be in February. We haven't announced the official drop time. The reason that we're doing it in February is during the Olympics are in February, and we have a lot of athletes that are on the board that are going to be in the Olympics, hopefully myself included. If not, that's okay. But we have a lot of great athletes that are going to be there, and we're going to use them to help us promote and push the project a little bit more to the world during the games with the way that they can, because there's Rule 40 for athletes with how you can market and promote things during the Olympics. Mm-hmm. So we have to be really careful there, but they are excited about helping promote it. So we're going to be doing it in February. And the drop, we're going to be doing it a Dutch auction style. So we're going to start it off at 1 ETH, and we're going to drop by 0.5 ETH every 5 minutes, all the way down to a base of 0.2 ETH. And we are doing a whitelist, and our whitelist actually gets discounted 50% off. So if you can get into our whitelist and you get in early, there's a huge advantage, because it's actually 0.1 ETH is what you'll be able to get it at. So you'll be able to get it at a big head start. And I know there's a lot of people that love to flip NFTs, and that's the reason we've designed it for that, is we wanted to give incentive for the people who really love NFTs and like flipping and trading and that kind of stuff. We wanted to do that, but we also want to incentivize our holders as well.
So not to put you on the spot, but maybe we can get a few whitelist spots for the FLOLiO community, and and get a little giveaway for some whitelist spots.
Yeah, let's do that. Put me on the spot. I love it. Let's put something together. So you guys with your community, we'll set up where we can give you. We'll talk about how many you guys think that you need for the community, and we'll set it up where we give you guys special access. And this is actually the first time I'm giving special access to giving away whitelist. So I want to definitely, awesome. With you guys bringing me on the show, let's do it. We'll get you guys some whitelists that you guys can give away to your community to guarantee them in that spot to really help us grow, because we really do appreciate you guys having us on and explaining our NFT, 100%. And we're excited about what we're building. We got a lot of really cool things lined up, and like I said, we have the professional athletes behind us, backing us, supporting us. We have more coming on every day. I have a list of over 200 friends that are professional athletes right now that I'm talking to and calling. The problem is I'm on the other side of the world competing for the Olympics, and just getting on the phone has been difficult a little bit sometimes. Yeah. But every single one that I talk to has been very supportive about the project and wants to help in some sort of way. So we're working out some really cool things.
Yeah, love it. And you said whitelist, and I saw Daniel's eyes just like
whitelist.
Like, wait, a whitelist? Where? How do I get on?
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, but I'm loving everything I'm hearing so far. Daniel, go ahead.
Yeah, I do have to say that it's so neat to see that you have like actual like NFT knowledge, like you know what you're talking about. It's not like someone trying to make a quick buck off NFTs. It's really someone that's like in the world, like knows what they're talking about. And I gotta say, the timing is like impeccable. We're the whole world's hit with a pandemic, so like athletes are all around the world really like need the extra push, to be able to practice their sport, and like I think it's great.
Yeah. Well, we've mentioned before, like pro athletes have tried coming into the NFT space. Damian Lillard, Rob Gronkowski, Patrick Mahomes, these super high profile guys, and their NFTs have crashed and burned for the most part. However, not to downplay it, but a skeleton athlete on Team USA who has a few thousand Twitter followers is going to come in and absolutely blow this out of the water. So I think that just speaks to the testament of, the importance of the NFT community and being genuine and having a good cause like you have, Stephen. I'm really, really excited to support this project.
I really appreciate that. And that's the biggest thing is utilizing the community. And I want to use this to also bring more athletes in and have them get educated on the market, because that's a big goal of mine, is helping athletes, because there are a lot of athletes, and I know a few who've come out with their own projects as well, and they haven't done very well, but they're all designed to support themselves, and they don't really understand NFTs. They're just like, oh, I heard about it. It's a fad. It's something cool to do. They don't really understand the technology and how how much of a game changer it is, and how this is really going to be changing the world. And if you really truly understand that, you can get in and you can build these communities, which I'm so excited to be able to build the best sports community on the blockchain. That's what our goal is, and that's what we're going to become. So I'm glad to have you guys on board, and I'm really appreciate you guys having me out today.
Yeah,
excellent. So let's wrap it up with one final question. Do you have any bold predictions for the NFT market in the year 2022? I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit there.
Bold predictions. Yeah, it's
they could be like outrageous if you want them to be. It's fine.
You can go like crazy, and if it doesn't work out, that's fine because it's a bold prediction.
Yeah. Well, my theory through the market is I actually thought we were going to be going through a bear market here for the next 2-3 months is the way I saw it, the way that I'm looking at it. And then around June, July-ish, it's going to pick back up, and it's going to have a good bump, not traditional for the market in a bull cycle or in a bear market. So I think that we are going down, and I think it's going to be down for a little bit, but I think it's actually, people are going to be surprised because it's not going to stay at the low levels that it normally does. So that would be my bold prediction is, yes, we are going to continue to feel this burn a little bit. Position yourself right, just be smart, but be ready, because I think it might respond a lot quicker than people traditionally. If you follow the markets in previous cycles, I don't think it's going to follow those.
Sweet.
Awesome.
So we have one more question coming in from Agnes asking, what are your favorite superheroes?
Oh, great question. I'm going to step away for 1 second to grab something for you guys. I got to show you this.
Okay.
I'm excited.
If he comes back with either a full-on like Thor's hammer or a full Captain America shield, I am just going to be so excited. God, just so much intrigue and build-up right now.
The anticipation is incredible.
Here we go.
All right,
oh, right.
Oh, that's
Captain from the America, picture, right? That's from the picture.
My helmet for skeleton, going down the skeleton track. So we got, let me hold this up right.
Yep.
We got Captain America holding the shield. Oh, sorry, I'm not good at doing this backwards.
No, I got it. We got it.
We got the U.S. flag wrapped, and then we got the Winter Soldier this way on this side.
Okay.
So is that like custom made, or like is that?
Yeah, it was custom painted, and there's a couple bullet marks on the shield, and the reason there's a couple bullet marks, you'll actually like this. I'm from Colorado, so one of my nicknames is the Silver Bullet. So going down the track head first. So I had to make sure we had some bullet marks.
That's really
cool. My nickname, the Silver Bullet. But Captain America would be my favorite superhero.
That is the coolest helmet I've ever seen
really
of
sick.
Any kind of sport. Like, if you end up doing a giveaway for the helmet to the Sports Initiative token holders, I will load up to try to get that thing.
Yeah, that's well. The plan is if I make it to the Olympics, the Olympic Museum has already reached out to me. They want it in the museum. I have to make the games. We'll see where it goes. I'll know on the 16th whether or not. If not, I think you have a great idea. I think I auctioned away to the Sports Initiative, and that's one of the really cool, one of a kind items that we have to give away.
That's very cool.
That's awesome. Awesome. Daniel, any more questions before we let Stephen get going? Get to bed. You gotta get some rest.
Yeah, you should rest up.
All right. Well, thank you once again, Stephen. Where can everyone find you online?
Yes, so our website is tsinft.com. And then we also have social media channels. It's actually backwards than that. It's nfttsi.com or at nfttsi, both on Instagram and Twitter. And on any of those, you can get to our Discord, and that's really where we need a little bit of help. We're trying to get more people involved in our Discord. We're really small right now. We just launched, so there's not many people there, but we're really actively working on growing it. So, but you can get to the Discords through our websites or through our social media channels.
Great. So everyone, go follow Stephen and the Sports Initiative on Twitter, on Instagram, and jump into their Discord so you can get chance for whitelist access. And we're really, really grateful that you came on. We're our first guest. I'm assuming we're going to have you on again someday once this starts to grow even more. And good luck with your races leading up to the Olympics. We're really hoping that we hear in about 9 days that you made the team.
Awesome, guys. Yeah, I'll keep you guys posted, and we'll definitely do another one of these here in the future. And it's been a pleasure being able to. And definitely, if you guys aren't following, that you guys follow me, and this is your first time watching the channel, go support the channel, follow these guys. They're providing some really good content.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Stephen, thank you so much. You take care. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
All right. Take care.
That was awesome.
That was Steven.
That helmet, I'm telling you, man.
It's
as
really
a
cool.
huge Marvel nerd, I want that helmet. That thing's so... I would put that in a case. I'll put that up in my house.
It looks really
so I'm
cool.
really excited to see what this project brings. I think I'm all for something that has a good cause. Mm-hmm. And, Steven seems like just such a good guy that I want to support whatever he's doing.
Yeah, but the most important part to me is that it's, like I said in the interview earlier as well, is that it's not like someone, like an athlete, like hearing about this thing and then like coming in and being like, all right, like I can make money off this. No, it's like something that's been in the works for a long time. Is dropping at the exact like the perfect timing for it. Knows what he's talking about. Like it's like I love it.
That's great, man. So let's get into our look ahead for what is coming up over the next week. And I've been keeping an eye on a few things, but I don't know anything about Frosty. So why don't you educate myself and the listeners on the Frosty NFT drop happening tomorrow?
Yeah, definitely. So I'll share my screen real quick just so I have something to share. So this is Frosty's. I'll open up their Twitter. Does this work? Yes, it does. So I think the note is that their numbers are doing fairly well. They got, I believe, 18,000 on Discord and like 7,000 on Twitter. And they get about like 200. This one is like a little bit less, I guess. Oh, because it posted like half an hour ago. The numbers are generally doing okay. And I just like the art. And we're definitely like a cute art, like meta. Like everything is cute profile picture. It's really like doing extremely well if you look at the market. So I haven't done like a deep dive into their product. But from a like outside perspective, the art looks very clean and crisp.
So looking through, kind of our checklist that we've discussed, so the art looks good. Do you know if the team behind it is doxed at all, or are they anonymous?
I do not think they're doxed, so that's one thing to keep an eye out on.
I do, the numbers that you discussed for like Twitter and Discord, it's not like they're artificially inflated or anything crazy like that. So I do think that's a positive thing. And the price, the mint price, I think I saw that was 0.04.
Yeah, so it's on the cheaper side.
Okay. Which is good. It's not like they're, anonymously dropping a project for 0.2 or anything. So that's interesting. Yeah. So speaking of overinflated, I want to touch on the crypto bats. So this is a project being dropped by Ozzy Osbourne. And to me, this is a cash grab, because anytime I see a celebrity, especially someone who hasn't been in the spotlight for a while, jump right in with a project without really being involved in NFTs, claiming that they've spent hours and hours creating the art, which I'll be honest, I don't believe for a second that Ozzy has been locking himself in a room creating the art for this. This screams cash grab to me. So, Daniel, I don't know if you know more about this than I do, and if you can convince me otherwise, but what do you know about the crypto bats?
What I know is that I'll open up the website on the side. Don't necessarily have to screenshot this, but it's basically, so he worked with a team on this.
Okay.
They said that he has like done the design, like perspective, like perhaps, but not like the actual design, not the actual like final like design of it. It's the team behind it. So trying to think. So he's the creative director. That's his official title. And then there's this whole team behind it. That's on everything, from founding it to managing it, and like also art direction. So,
Okay. Take that for what you will.
All I know is JWeb is not a fan.
I'm not a fan of cash grabs. I think I've made that abundantly clear in the past.
Yeah, one thing I do like, and but it is not necessarily like related to Ozzy. It's the fact that they have this biting function. So currently there's 3 NFTs that are like allowed or like accepted. Those are Cryptotes, Subdocs, and I believe Bored Ape. And if you have both a bet and then one of those 3 projects in your wallet, the bet can quote unquote bite the other NFT, and the bet the bet becomes like a mixture of the NFT like that you've bid and the
Yeah.
bet. So there's some kind of like interesting like play like between NFTs.
So does it remain? Is it still just a one NFT, or does it like splice off and become two separate NFTs?
I believe it's just the one NFT. So it's like the bet
Okay.
just like transforms it. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. All right. And then let's move on past that to Wolf Game. They have a wool auction today, and I know you had discussed on our last live show that you had gotten involved in Wolf Game. So tell me more about that.
Yeah, so I've only been involved in Wolf Game like fairly shortly, because they had like a huge run up, maybe like I don't know, like a month ago or 2 months ago, and I believe when their game launched, there was some like bug in the code that allowed people to like abuse something. So they were like, uh-oh. So they migrated to a new contract, I believe, and they had to redo everything and change everything. So that's apparently now fixed. The prices were a little bit on the lower side, so I got in at like zero point 0.5, I think, for land, and no, I got in at 0.3 something for land and zero point 0.5 for farmers specifically, and those went up like quite a little bit. I think to like zero point 0.7 farmers and zero point 0.6 farm like actual land. So that's like a fairly good investment on my side. But what's coming up is the wool auction. What they do is they have what you call a relic, and those are like the little gifs you see on their website. They have like really. I can see if I can pull up something. So I got something to show. Let's see. Okay, perfect. I got a perfect example for this. So you see this like GIF here, right? So the shepherd is putting sheep into like this machine, and I think he's killing him to be honest. But I'm not sure.
No,
So
it's just
anyway,
taking the wool, I guess.
yeah, okay. They're taking the wool and they're going to the farm, quote unquote the farm. So for example, this type of GIF is something that they auction off, and in the auction you can buy the GIFs for wool. So it's like a normal auction, you have to bid, and all proceeds are burned. So it's like a wool burning type of process. And what I've learned from the past auction, so this is the second auction ever. The first one, there were a lot of like weird twists involved, like a lot of like new information coming to light. And this starts in 8 minutes, so I am excited.
Okay. Agnes says, "R.I.P. sheep." Agnes, they're just going to the farm. They're
Yeah,
not.
they're
Being
going to
murdered.
the farm.
Okay. So
No sheep are hurt in
are
this
you jumping
process.
in? Are you jumping in on that auction here in a few minutes?
I don't think I have enough money.
Okay.
I'll watch. I'll definitely watch and see what happens. Because
Okay.
I'm hoping for some, like, I'm thinking about selling some stuff to pick up some liquid wool. So like that's their token wool, like the thicker wool. Because so what someone said, I think Beanie said it on Twitter. He said historically, the tokens of play to earn projects have massively outperformed the assets of the project. So you can think about sand and mana from like Decentraland and stuff.
Okay.
So I'm like,
Interesting.
I need to maybe pick up some wool. I was thinking about maybe picking up a sheep or two as well, but those are quite pricey. So
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting experiment because we're about to see this year a lot of projects launch games and a currency native to that game. And I think this is going to be a learning opportunity to see, okay, what's the best way to approach this? Because some of these are going to be highly successful and some of them are going to just
yeah,
absolutely eat shit. So we're going to try here on Web3 and Me to help direct you into the ones that aren't going to eat shit. So speaking of other high-priced NFTs, earlier today, Gary Vee had the public sale for his Fly Fish Club NFT. This is Gary Vee's NFT restaurant that is going to be based in New York City. This was discussed, he initially announced this like 6-8 months ago.
well, quite some time ago, yeah.
Yeah, that he was creating this. Now it's cool to see him follow through with it. So the Fly Fish Club, as I mentioned, it's going to be initially in New York. It sounds like in the future there'll be other locations. If I had to venture a guess, I would say Miami is a pretty safe bet for one with how crypto friendly Miami is, and how LA also with just being how trendy of a spot that is. So we could see this NFT giving you membership to multiple locations. For now in the country, possibly around the world even in the future. So the two different tiers of membership are the Fly Fish Club membership and the Fly Fish Omakase membership. So quick breakdown of those. The Fly Fish is the lower tier. It was 2.5 ETH to mint that. There were 2,600 of them. It had one design, and included with that NFT was the ability to go to physical and virtual events, access to the Fly Fish Lounge, both indoor cocktail and their main dining room once the restaurant opens in New York City. With the Omakase one, that was a little bit more expensive. That's going to be 4.25 ETH. And it has all the benefits of the base membership, but also includes access to the Omakase room, which is their more exclusive room. For those who don't know, Omakase is basically when you go to a sushi restaurant, it is let the chef prepare whatever they want to prepare for you. And I have to imagine Gary Vee doesn't do anything half-assed.
Yeah.
And that Omakase room is probably going to be pretty awesome, and whatever they do is going to be pretty great. So if you have the means, buying one of those, they're all sold out. The secondary marketplace is already hopping. So the base membership from 2.5, the current low ask is 3.68. And then for the Omakase, I believe the current low ask on that is 7.38. So definitely not for the faint of heart. It's my understanding that you'll also be able to lease that out so you can try to recoup some of that money. As someone who doesn't live in New York, I really want one of them because I just think it's a really cool concept, and it's a lifetime membership to what could be something really innovative. I also have a hard time pulling the trigger on that much money on something that I can't use on a regular basis. So I'm going to do a little bit more digging. If it's something where you can lease out your spot, I might have to go ahead and grab one of those and try to recoup that money, because that is going to be, I'll visit New York for NFT NYC in June, and I don't know if the restaurant's going to be open by then. Ooh. If it is, I would love to go visit it. Or
that'd be crazy.
I have friends out there. It'd be really cool to check that out.
Yeah. So do you know if the leasing thing is confirmed, like through official sources, or do you not know?
I don't. That's something I need to dive into before I make any sort of decision on whether or not I want to get a membership.
Yeah, because I think if it is like supported natively, I think that's going to be the very first like big real life like renting out an NFT in order to do something. I might be wrong, but I think that's for now like the biggest use case we've seen in that regard. So I'm very interested to see like how that's going to play out.
100%. I'll report back on that one next week. So moving on past that, something I wanted to touch on, which is NFT security related, is an exploit that was talked about this week through Rarible. Now, we've seen a few people on Twitter discuss how they had NFTs, primarily Bored Apes and Mutant Apes, that were purchased from them at lower prices than they had them listed on OpenSea. So one thing I want to discuss with people is if you have an NFT that is listed on OpenSea, Rarible.com, any other marketplace, and you want to delist it, make sure that you don't just transfer it to another wallet, because that's how this exploit was worked. Essentially, someone would have an NFT in one wallet. One of the people I read about, he had an issue with his ledger, so he moved his NFT from one wallet to another. It was still listed on Rarible, and then it was bought for a much lower price than he had intended it to be listed for. So just another thing to be really careful for is if you're moving an NFT, if you don't want to sell one because you see the prices going up and you want to raise that price, go back to every single time it's been listed and cancel every single one of those damn listings, because I don't want to see someone get wrecked and lose out on a bunch of ETH because they didn't do the due diligence there.
Yeah.
Anything to add to that, Daniel?
I might
don't
get
wrecked. Don't do it.
I might, because there's this. So I listed my top dog like a long time ago, and that is before. So right now the standard for listing an item, I think it's like timed. So it's timed for like maybe 6 days, maybe 7 days timed. Back then, when I listed that originally, it automated to like endlessly, like always listed. So it doesn't delist automatically. So what I did, I listed it at like 5, and then 4, and then 3, and then 2, and a 1, and then point this, point that. So I think I have like 12 listings open for this one like damn dog. So I was like, I'm not gonna pay like the gas fees 12 times to cancel it. Like I'll be poor. I'll be poor by the time all this goes through. So I was like, you know what? I'll just transfer it because I heard of this like cool trick where you can cancel all of them automatically. And then I heard about that, so I was like, huh. Well, I hope they don't like have this huge run up and then it gets snagged like under my nose.
That would not be great. So once again, cancel those listings, people. Don't get wrecked.
Except when they're 12, then you're then you get
okay.
wrecked.
It's also interesting. We can now time what the day of the time it is based off of the stupid reflection that I'm getting off of my truck that's making my lighting look stupid. Now I got these like stripes all over my face. Jesus Christ. Yeah. All right, moving on past that. Fees.wtf. Token drop. Give me the details on that, Daniel.
Yeah, so I'll check the Twitter real quick because I have not checked it today. But the long story short is that we're living in the age of airdrops right now, claimable airdrops. After SOS, everyone has seen like the impact it can have, and SOS is still doing like fine considering they had like a huge run up and then kind of stabilized midway. So I'm unsure what the fees.wtf are trying to achieve, but they are basically like the main website to check how much you've spent on gas fees. So what they're going to do is they're going to distribute tokens based off of how much you've paid in gas fees like in the past. So I have this really cool tweet of them, and that was posted 6 hours ago, and they said, actually I'll just screen share, and then I'll talk over it a little bit. It says, Pro version will be an upgraded multi-chain fees.wtf with metrics, charts, and useful insights. We'll bring you date range filtering, contract breakdowns, choice of fiat meme currencies, ranking and leaderboards, and more. Lifetime access for all WTF NFT holders. So it's definitely something you can do. You can work with. So that's very exciting.
So I see you chose on the poll 1000x to that question. I also like 1000x.
And it's actually the final result is blue.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But this question is talking about so if you have spent 1 ETH in gas fees, then let's say you can claim 1 token. So that's a 1x. What they're saying is if you spent 1 ETH in gas fee, you can claim 1,000 of those tokens, but in the end they're still worth the same.
Yeah.
So something very interesting to talk about is let me scroll down a little bit. I see if I can find it. I don't think I can find it. Oh, here we go. So tokens below 5 cents have outperformed tokens above $1 by 800% since April 2020. So there must be some.
There we go.
Some psychological effect.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So there's apparently this like narrative that you can spin up saying like, guys, we can go to $1, guys, we can do it, instead of like being around like $10. So apparently there's like this whole psychological effect it has on people. So that's why people want it to be 1000x like smaller. So that's like so I assume hopefully you can get to the $1 point eventually.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking at moving some money into a crypto that if I transferred 1 ETH into it, it would have got me like 50 million of them, and I was exactly. That's cool.
Yeah, if it goes up by like 10 times, then bada bing, bada boom.
Okay. We've reached the point in the show where I'm going to make some wild speculation about the Bored Ape Yacht Club, because I've seen this floating around on Twitter too, the Bored Ape Yacht Club's involvement in the Super Bowl halftime show. So for those in America, the Super Bowl is coming up in a few weeks. Daniel, do you know much about American football?
Tom Brady.
Yep, he's a guy. He is a guy,
and he does play football, right?
He sure does. So the Super Bowl is coming up. This year's halftime show will consist of Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Dr. Dre, Mary J. Blige, and I'm blanking on the 5th person involved. But this speculation is coming across because both Snoop Dogg and Eminem in the last month have been confirmed to now own Bored Apes. And there have been some things on Twitter about, people who have friends who do animation, who are working on the halftime show, have said that Bored Apes are included. So if we see
Bullish.
a Bored Ape that one of those guys owns as part of the Super Bowl halftime show, my pants are going to be off and I am going to be losing my mind.
Yeah, I
So
can already see the Twitter like, what are these stupid. I don't want to see the stupid Bored Apes.
It's going to be great. The blowback from the non-NFT crowd is going to be absolutely incredible. So I'll definitely be keeping a close eye on this year's Super Bowl halftime show for anything Bored Ape related. And then, do you want to pull up Agnes's comment here, Daniel?
Yeah, I saw as well. I was waiting for you to finish your rant about the Bored Apes.
My wild speculation.
Yeah. So Agnes asks, I was wondering what makes a 1 out of 1 NFT artist successful? For PvPs, PFPs, I personally look at the community engagement art style, but what makes a 1 out of 1 artist stand out for you?
I think for me, it is just how much does it appeal to my own personal taste? You know, like I like very vibrant things that pop. And I'm not going to pretend like I have the most refined eye. I just lost one of my AirPods. Refined eye for art. So, you know, when looking at 1 of 1s, you see people like XCopy who create this really like vibrant, almost absurd looking pieces. And I think, you know, for 1 of 1 artists, it's a tough time because so much is still dedicated toward the 5 to 10K PFP projects.
Yeah.
But if you are putting out, you know, I think creating art that you like and that you're passionate about and being consistent with it, just like, you know, putting out content is the most important thing. And having this long-term perspective of, this is my style of art. I'm going to find people who like it. I'm just going to keep putting out work that I enjoy. For me, that's what matters most.
Yeah. So for me, it's like, especially for 1 out of 1s, for me, it's like just the art, right? That's like front and center. It's how does it look like? And other than that, from like an investment point of view, I need the artist to be consistent. I need the artist to create art, because if the art is great, so let's say, so I just pulled up a random person that I see has currently a bid going on. So not exactly sure how Foundation works, but I believe so. This might be his first piece, minted on October 4th, which then sold for 0.40 ETH. So that's a very like respectable price to sell like your art at, your very first art piece at Foundation. 0.4, it's very like respectable. So then this, so there you go, October 13th. So this is quite like maybe like 10 days, maybe like a week after his original art piece, and that sold for 1. So this, like this indicates to me that there's definitely like, this artist is actively like putting out work. He's busy with it, and you know, he's like creating his whole like portfolio almost. And then it's pretty interesting to see with his newest piece, like you can see it's like a very like different like vibe to it, more like vibrant, more like pink colors. And that's what I look for in an art, like 1 out of 1 artist. I need them to be active, consistent, actively building something. Like even more plus points if they have like an active, like thriving community as well. But
yeah, I mean, they're all unique, but they have that consistent style to it, and those ones are really cool looking. Yeah. So that would be, I think Daniel's advice was pretty good on that one.
I hope so.
Not seeing any other questions for today, so I think this is a good point to wrap it up. So, hold on. Following up on that.
We're
going to keep it going.
Following up on that, what is your opinion on the use of AI like Wombo Dream? I have seen some discussion on selling AI-generated art versus derivative base of the AI art. That's a very interesting question, because have you ever heard of Wombo Dream? Wombo Dream?
I have not. If you want to pull that up,
yeah, I can show you.
Get my reaction in real time.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. So I'll open this up. This is very neat. All right, so this is something that is created. I believe. Okay, so Dream by Wombo. So the artist / group's name is Wombo, and this is called Dream. So give me a prompt. So anything at all, like any. Like a word or phrase.
Majestic waterfall.
Majestic waterfall. So then you can go like, okay, well, like what type of art style do we want? We can go like,
Go festive.
we can go festive, right? And then we click create, and now it's generating, um, like based off your query, majestic waterfall, and with the festive style, it is now creating art, right? By like through AI. So while it's finishing up on some coloring, finishing up on some rendering, it should be done any second now.
Do you own any of these, Daniel?
These are free.
They're
You can
free.
just do this. You can just do this.
That
So
is a pretty damn majestic waterfall. That's quite
yeah.
festive.
So actually, this is so they have apparently included a mint as NFT function now. Of course, it's not as you can see, it's coming soon.
Okay.
Did not know this was a thing. But what people did is they would crop this and then sell it as like an NFT and being like, hey, I made this kind of.
And then
Or
you
well,
can name it as well, it looks like.
yeah, you can just go like name I made this I made this art, you know, like this is like basically what a lot of people do. They generate this and then try to sell it off and being like, I made this, you know. So the question is, um, well, the point being is that if you create an engine like this, if you are the creator of like Dream by Wombo, and then generate your art through your own like private creation, then I think you should be allowed just to sell that and say like, hey, I made this, right? But if you're working with like this open source something, this publicly available engine that you can just type a word into and then generate it, like I think you should not be allowed to like sell that off as like a I made this type thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting dilemma there. I do think that Wombo Dream is pretty cool.
It is very. I must say, I have been sitting here and going like god of like goddess of Bitcoin or something, right? Some like really weird like thing. Click dark fantasy generate, and it always like there's certain words like goddess, for example, that always just like has this really cool creation, but like bound to it. So
Huh.
definitely, if you're like an artist looking for inspiration, I would definitely recommend playing around with this. Obviously, don't copy it. Don't like be like I made this. Um, but yeah, so what you can see, for example, it pulls like information based off the query, right? So these things, the little like honey stuff you see at the bottom. So I believe that's where they pull like the Bitcoin logo like inspiration from. So it's very neat, and they pull like the human type shape, the hourglass type shape as well. So it's very interesting, interesting tool.
Very cool. That's awesome. All right. Wombo Dream, check it out. And on that note, we are going to call it a day. So, once again, please subscribe to our channel, hit that like button, and follow the Sports Initiative on Twitter, on Instagram, and jump into their Discord as well. So, for Daniel, for the team at FLOLiO, I am Jeremy. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. We'll be back next Friday. Hope you have a great weekend.
All
Take
right,
care.
bye bye.